Thanks for supporting the channel by clicking the links in the description box. And thank you so much for liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. And now let's get into this podversation. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Being Beautifully Honest channel. And if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and hit the notifications bell. And you can go ahead and hit that like button while you're at it. So now let's get into this podversation. Now, recently, NeNe Leakes, who is formerly from the Real Housewives of Atlanta, she was interviewed by Jason Lee on Hollywood Unlocked. I had to listen to this a few times. I didn't have to, but I did. I listened to the interview a couple of times. I listened to it last week and it came out, and I listened to it again today because, to be honest with you, a few of the things that she said, I was a little bit in shock and like, did she actually really say that? But knowing how NeNe has been, and she said some things that have been inappropriate. Some things may have been for shock. Some things she may not have even realized when she said it, how it comes across, because she's done that before. I mean, she's been checked on a few things in the past. A few things. She could have been checked on a whole lot more. But she's been checked on a few things where it was like, girl, you just don't look good in the situation. Like, don't do that. Like when she got upset with the therapist, when he was coming to do a therapy session with she and the other ladies, and she thought that the therapist was going to be on her side. And when he put her in check to let her know, like, I'm here to listen to everyone, to listen to every, side of the story. I'm not here to just defend you. And she really got offended by that. And then she got upset with him and, finally got up and walked out when she said she felt like she was being attacked. All right. And then she's been also checked by the Derek. I'm sorry if I'm forgetting his name. I should, because I've seen almost every season up until this most recent season of the Real Housewives of Atlanta a few times. But the hairstylist, I believe his name is Derek J. Forgive me if I am saying it wrong, but it has been a long day. But when NeNe had this party at her house and she called it girls and gays, never forget white party or whatever it was called. And, he checked her on that. He was like, I'm gonna have to get you together on that. Like, why are you calling this party like girls and gays? Like the gays are, an object or, something to be, adorning you or something that is, it's like a prop, and it just the optics didn't look good. But anyway, getting back to this interview, did NeNe call Kandi Burruss a house N-word? It sure sounded like that's what she was saying. Because listen, I like Jason Lee. In this interview, I feel like he was baiting her a little bit. And to be honest with you, I could be wrong. You let me know your thoughts on it in the comment section if you listen to this interview. But to me, it sounded a little bit like Jason Lee didn't really care for Kandi that much. I could be wrong, because he said, I don't really know Kandi. But what made me feel that way was when he said that he felt like Kandi was devious a little bit and she kind of has something to hide. Like, in not so many words, I should say. That's what he was alluding to when he was talking about Kandi to NeNe. And most of us who have eyes to see and ears to hear, we can tell that when it comes to Kandi, NeNe has a chip on her shoulder. And NeNe has been like that with Kandi since Kandi first got on the Real Housewives of Atlanta. You rewind back to that season where Kandi showed up, and I believe Kandi showed up on season 2. It was either season 2 or season 3 of the Real Housewives of Atlanta. But I believe it was season 2. And Kandi and Kim Zolciak got close. Don't ask me why, but I mean, we all know why Kim got close to her. Kim is a user. But anyway, they got close, and I don't believe that NeNe was expecting that, along with the other things. And also NeNe was trying to just, make Kandi seem like she wasn't really that much and she really wasn't that important, and that NeNe had more importance than Kandi. I mean, she was honestly seeming like it was some type of competition, and Kandi just really wasn't that way. But anyway, in this interview, NeNe said a few things, and she did actually come out and say that where it involved the show, Kandi was doing kind of like backdoor deals and throwing other people under the bus for the sake of saving herself. She pretty much said those things, but when she was alluding to the fact that Kandi is like the house N-word, I was like, oh my God. But some things that NeNe said in this interview specifically that was definitely off-putting. One, when NeNe tried to compare herself to Beyonce. And it's not just the fact that she was comparing herself to Beyonce, because I'm not talking about the looks or the talent or, the work ethic or whatever. It's just the fact that she tried to say, you can't have a Destiny's Child without a Beyonce. Well, that's not the same thing, because Destiny's Child was created by Beyonce and, her parents, and she is the star of that group, but it's something that she created. NeNe did not create the Real Housewives of Atlanta, and I think sometimes she forgets that. You can definitely be one of the first on something and you feel a sense of pride, and even sometimes you may feel a sense of entitlement, like you feel like you deserve this because you are the one that really got the views on this franchise. And that could be true. I mean, but honestly, whether you like Kim Zolciak or not, she definitely had a lot of shock factor and shock value to her, which is what helped her to get a spinoff, whether she deserved it or not. Because I don't really care for Kim Zolciak, and I didn't believe that she deserved to have a spinoff for however many seasons she had it, and I believe it just recently got canceled. Finally, good riddance. But anyway, NeNe did not create the Real Housewives of Atlanta, and I believe sometimes she forgets that. The other thing that she said that was like, wow, NeNe has pretty much said that Bravo is racist, Andy Cohen is racist, and she said that she and Cynthia are not friends, but yet when it comes to Andy Cohen, she said she loved Andy like he was a part of her family. Andy was your employer or a part of your employment. He was never your friend. He may have made you feel that way, and honestly, that's how shady Andy Cohen is. So he probably made her feel that way. But when it all boils down to it, it was a job. It was not personal. It was business. It was never personal for Andy Cohen. It was always business. That dude has always just been about his business, and I've been watching him from the very beginning. I remember when he started hosting these reunions and he was, doing the interviews. And I mean, we're going back to Real Housewives of Orange County, which is where it all began. So that's one of the reasons why I'm saying NeNe comparing herself to Beyonce and saying you can't have a Destiny's Child without Beyonce. NeNe did not create the Real Housewives franchise. Yeah, she was one of the first on the Real Housewives of Atlanta. You could call her an OG, but she did not create the Real Housewives of Atlanta. So you definitely can have the Real Housewives of Atlanta without NeNe. Would it be the same without NeNe? Yeah, I mean, honestly, whether you like her or hate her, it isn't the same without her being on there. But let's be honest. She was ready to go a long time before they finally said, we don't need you back. She's been ready to go. It was almost like the last, maybe, I don't know, the last season that aired that she wasn't on it was season 13. So I would say probably since she started getting the opportunities to be on Glee and that show that got canceled, The New Normal, it was always questioning every time. Are you coming back to the Real Housewives of Atlanta? Oh, I don't know. Sometimes I just get so tired of Atlanta. I don't know. I'm going to have to think about it. It was always a question of whether she was coming back or not. She didn't even really want to be there anymore. So for her to compare herself to Beyonce and say that you can't have a Destiny's Child without Beyonce, absolutely true. But you can have the Real Housewives of Atlanta without NeNe. So that was really ridiculous. The other thing was the fact that it was like she was blaming Kandi for her not being a part of the Escape tour that they had, when Kandi was the one that really rooted for her to be on it. Now, some people may say, yeah, Kandi was just saying that for the cameras, but she didn't really mean it. I believe that Kandi meant what she was saying. She was like, look, I wanted her to be a part of this tour, and I really rooted for her to continue to stay on it. But when she was making those jokes about somebody getting RAPED'd from an Uber driver when someone was heckling her, they said, we can't have that. We can't have her be a part of the tour anymore. Kandi said, I really wanted her to be a part of it, but I was the odd man out. My one vote really didn't make a difference, because you've got the sponsors, the advertisers, and then the other group members that were just like, nah, we can't have ourselves attached to that. But she tried to say, well, Tiny and T.I., they have all of these allegations out there about them assaulting, people, but I never had anything like that. I just said a joke on stage, and I had to stop being a part of the tour. NeNe was not a part of the group Escape. Okay, Tiny is in the group. So for them to still have the versus battle and the other things that they're doing, even if they didn't have Tiny to come on, that would not have been the same as them saying we can't have NeNe be a part of this Escape tour opening up for us. It's just not the same thing. So NeNe is a little bit delusional when it comes to the comparisons, because she compared herself to Beyonce and she compared herself to Tiny. Oh my God. I was like, did I really hear this? So I had to listen to this a couple of times. There were a few other things that were said where it was like, wow. And she did say a few things that I can definitely agree with her on. But all in all, the interview, it was NeNe pretty much coming for Kandi. And she even just came out and said that, yeah, Cynthia and I, we're not friends. But the fact that she said that in terms of a relationship with Andy and herself, the door is open, and she, felt like he was like family. And I don't think Andy feels the same way, NeNe. So you might want to go ahead and close the door on that, because I really don't see him wanting to have anything to do with you ever again. I believe that bridge is burnt. The door is closed. The ashes have fallen into the ocean, and it has dissolved, never to rise again. I just really don't see that happening. Stranger things have happened, so if it turns out that they become friendly again in the future, you come back and let me know about it. But I'm not holding my breath for that to ever happen. But the fact that she just pretty much said, yeah, Cynthia and I are not friends, but where it involves Andy Cohen, who I just was saying is racist, and nobody knew you until you knew me. It's just insulting the man, and pretty much saying that he's racist. Yeah, the door's open, and I felt like he's like family, and hopefully we'll be able to talk at some point. And she even tried to make it like, well, Anderson Cooper didn't even really know who Andy Cohen was. Andy Cohen didn't really know Anderson Cooper until until Anderson Cooper knew me. So NeNe gives herself a whole lot more credit than she actually deserves. Look, again, she said a few things that were really true on that interview, like when she was talking about how, things have changed, and there's just no way she could be on the show the way that it is now, when they're paying people $1,000 an episode to be on it, which I know she was talking about LaToya Ali. And I agree with that, because she was like, you have people coming on the show, they're getting paid $1,000 an episode, and they're just doing any and everything. Then why would I come on and expect them to pay me what I feel like I deserve and be a part of that. I can't do that. And I 100% agree with her on that. I do believe that they have downgraded by allowing people like Latoya Ali to be on the show, to be a friend of the show, or whatever her title is, and they're paying her $1,000 an episode for her to be on here wilding out and just doing the crazy crap that she was doing. And I don't really care for her. You probably can tell by the way I'm speaking. I don't really care for Latoya Ali. I really hope that they don't bring her back at all. I just don't like her. I don't like her character and how she presents herself. And I've pretty much felt that way from the first time I saw her on there. And that's how she's presented herself to be throughout this past season, and just the shenanigans of the few things that I've seen here and there online that other people have reported, because I don't follow her and I really don't care to do that. And so yeah, she was right about that. She definitely was right about that. But the number of other things that she said where it was like, wow, yeah, NeNe, you're still in a space of delusion. Hopefully you can get it together at some point fairly soon. But I don't see them bringing NeNe back in any capacity anytime soon on The Real Housewives of Atlanta, because you can't go that far as to call the actual network and the show and your so-called, like family friend Andy Cohen racist and expect them to open the door for you again. Yeah, that door is closed. Like she was saying to Portia, several seasons back, the door is closed. So you guys, please let me know your thoughts about this interview. There's probably a few things that I skipped, but honestly, even with me listening to this a couple of times, it was like my head was kind of in a whirlwind, and I was like, wow, she actually was alluding to the fact that Kandi is a house N-word, and she is like Beyonce and like Tiny of Escape, and I just don't see where she's getting that from. Yes, NeNe has made a name for herself. They have paid her exceptionally well for the times that she was on there, and unfortunately sometimes people's egos get so inflated, and their heads get so inflated that bubble has to be burst. You have to just slowly slide that skinny pin in there and deflate it all, and it's not pretty when it happens, but sometimes it just has to happen. So let me know your thoughts about this interview in the comment section, and I really appreciate you liking, commenting, and subscribing. And until the next episode, I'm just being beautifully honest.